Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth, and in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about I'm stuck and confused about my breakup. Working through a breakup is not an easy process, and many of us struggle to do the right thing. We focus on our ex all the time, where they're at, what they're doing, who they're talking with, instead of focusing on ourself and shifting to ourself. If we don't shift to ourself and work through the breakup, talk about it, process it, therapy can be great. Looking at my creative healing course and my workbooks can really help you process through the breakup. Because I know what it's like to get stuck, where every day you're just wondering if they've posted on social media, if there's something new, and you get caught cyber stalking, and that really isn't going to help you work through the breakup. It keeps you stuck. Now, we often tell you, if you want to get your ex back, let them go to get them back. I don't know why it works this way, but we've been doing this a long time, and what we often see is that the people that are really healing, working through the breakup, and getting to a great place are the ones that are going to be more likely to reattract their ex. And this is going to happen for a lot of different reasons. But when you have that mindset of letting go and not sitting there obsessive like, oh, okay, I'm letting them go. Are they coming back? No, it has to be genuine. When they do come back, you have grown so much, you've changed so much, and you feel so much better than you will if all you do is stay stuck. But it happens. It is not easy to get over somebody that you care about. It's not easy to move on. It's not easy to forget about them. And our bonds run strong and deep, and that goes for our exes too. So even though they may look like they're never going to come back, many times they do. Now, that's not a guarantee. And we tell you that all the time. Many of you are going to get a chance to get your ex back, but some of you won't hear from your ex again for whatever reason. And I know it's frustrating. I know the uncertainty of not knowing is one of the hardest parts of a breakup. And that's why I keep trying to get you to focus on yourself and heal, because you should be the star of your own movie. It's your movie. Your life is your movie, and you should be the star of it. So today I've got an email coaching that's a follow-up to an email coaching I did a while ago, and I did some Zoom calls with this guy as well. It was a while back. I don't recall if I did a video on it. Maybe it will sound familiar to you guys. They said, hey, Coach, it took me a while to write this, but I wanted to give you an update on what happened. As you know, I caught my ex cheating. Okay, now I can't remember because it has been so long what the cheating was. I don't think she had hooked up with another guy. I think she was like maybe talking to other guys, but this breakup was a while ago. I want to say it was like 6 months ago. Now I remember the guy, I just can't remember that one particular detail. After dropping off my daughter, I went to a gym where she lives because my usual gym closes around that time. She didn't know I had started going there. When I walked in, I saw her with another guy. He was holding her from behind, and she appeared completely caught up in the moment. Okay, so he's talking about the breakup. He's not talking about the update yet. This is like a recap. So maybe this will sound familiar if I did cover it in a different video. After a few seconds, she realized I was there, looked surprised, and pushed him away. They exchanged a few words. The guy walked off, and she went to the treadmill. I didn't say anything, finished my workout, and then went home. Well, if you guys were still together at the time, I don't understand what held you back from saying something. Like if you guys were a couple and you saw that, I would have definitely addressed it. You don't want to let those kind of things go. We have to set boundaries with people. They'll respect you more if you set boundaries and don't tolerate something like this. This would be unacceptable if they were a couple, and it sounds like they were. I was in shock and didn't reach out to my ex until 2 days later. When I did, I stayed calm and texted her about what happened. She immediately became defensive, blamed me for everything that went wrong in the relationship and said she never wanted to speak to me again and wanted me out of her life. Okay, it would be devastating to have this happen to you. They get caught doing something wrong and they treat you like you're the one that wronged them. I see a lot of people do this. This is a real sign of people that are emotionally immature and selfish. And oftentimes I see avoidance do this. They blame you and they don't want to take accountability for anything. Sometimes people are like that. All they care about how they feel. How do they feel in the moment? How do they feel about you? And people that are like that, you have to be careful with, because if all of a sudden they don't feel good about the relationship, well, now they're just going to do things like this. Looking back, I think she may have felt guilty, and I wasn't thinking clearly at the time. Over the next couple of days, I kept reaching out and even sent flowers to her house. So it's like he actually believed what she was telling him, like that it was all his fault, when clearly it wasn't. But sometimes that happens. We can get so confused when these things happen to us that it's like up is down, down is up, and we can't think clearly. This is why we tell you, when you're in no contact, focus on healing and getting to a good place. By the third day after the breakup, I stopped because it became clear to me that she no longer cared about the relationship. I found your channel a few days later. I scheduled a meeting with you the following week and explained the full situation. My ex had been in an arranged marriage for 7 years. She wasn't forced into it, as her siblings chose their own partner, but she chose that path partly for American citizenship and ended a previous relationship in Pakistan to do so. Okay, so she might have been using this other guy just to become an American citizen, right? So maybe it wasn't arranged, but maybe she was like, well, I have to do this because I want to come to the United States. Some people are going to do things like that. There are people in this world that will, look for someone to take advantage of and use. And like I said earlier in the video, you want to protect yourself and set boundaries with people. I explained that we had been seeing each other for about a year, and after her divorce was finalized, her behavior started to change. Yes, this happens a lot. And I talked about this with me going through this with the Applebee's girl, where when her divorce was finalized, it felt like she was signing the divorce papers with my name on it. That's what often happens when people finalize a divorce. They want to be free, and they want to see what it's like to be free, even though they had been together for a year. I know it sounds bizarre, but I've seen it so often that it's just no surprise. Not long after that, I caught her cheating. Oh, so there was other cheating too, not just walking up to another guy holding her from behind. I had even asked her after the divorce if she wanted time to be alone and focus on herself, but she said she didn't. I spoke with you again about a week later because my anxiety was getting the best of me. I told you that my ex had been staying late at the gym and would mostly just watch me instead of working out. This happened twice, and she would usually leave a few minutes after I did. Okay, so at that time, she was showing some interest, but she didn't do anything to escalate, which a lot of times an ex will. You advised me not to go to the gym for a few weeks and see what happens. After those few weeks, I went back at an unusual time and unexpectedly saw her again. Wouldn't surprise me if she was there waiting for you to come. I noticed she had gained a significant amount of weight and looked very different, which caught me off guard at first. Around that time, I learned that the relationship she had left me for had ended after about 2 to 3 weeks, which may explain why she had been watching me at the gym. Probably. Over the next few months, my ex's weight fluctuated. Her skin darkened, and her behavior at the gym seemed different. At times, she would sit for long periods without working out or walk on the treadmill for extended stretches. Something felt off. Although she had blocked me, I occasionally checked her social media and noticed she was posting herself doing workouts that I had done that day. She was mirroring my workouts and posting them on social media. How bizarre. A lot of very bizarre, unusual behavior from this woman, right? My workouts are unique, so I know I'm not imagining this. In December, I gave you an update, and you mentioned that she might reach out soon, especially since she started waving and occasionally greeting me at the gym. So was she coming up to you and talking to you? Because if she was, I would have tried to chat her up and say, hey, how are you doing? Did you want to get together? Depending upon the level of interest that she's showing here. Oh, this is interesting. As it turned out, she had written me a handwritten letter and left it in my mailbox, which I didn't discover until about a month later. Wow, okay. So look at that. All of that shows that she was trying to get his attention. It just, I mean, look at it. Now we have a handwritten letter that was there a month prior or so, and during that time she was doing all those things to get his attention. But he didn't know. My ex mentioned on her social media story that she had trouble sleeping, and a few days later she sent me a voice message in late January 2025, which I also shared with you. In it, she said she appreciated me, didn't want to revisit the past, and that I didn't need to respond or reach out. We spoke briefly later that night and kept the call under 15 minutes as you had suggested. Okay, what'd you do on that call? How'd that call go? Let's find out. Very interesting. Some mixed messages here, right? During the call, I mentioned that we should meet up sometime, and she agreed. Over the next few months, she would reach out occasionally about every 3 weeks. Okay, did you ask her to get together? This sounds like a window of opportunity here. If she's reaching out to you, what you want to do is ask her to get together and say, hey, how are things going? Let's get together. Let's do something. That's on you to do that when your ex puts herself in your orbit like this. I also saw on her Instagram story that she was going to rage techno parties. At one point, she even took pictures of me at the gym and sent them to me. Okay. I forwarded those to you as well, but I later realized you had stopped using Skype, so I'm not sure if you received them. No. Once Skype shut down, we had no access to messages any longer. Even old messages, you can't view them. So if anybody was trying to contact us at that time, there was just no way to see those messages. The day after she had been texting me, she came into the gym with another guy. I wasn't upset, but I found it confusing that she was reaching out to me, also bringing other men to the same gym. Yeah, but you weren't asking her out, it doesn't sound like. You know, when she was reaching out, you should have been trying to ask her to get together. It sounds like she did numerous times, and I don't hear you asking her out. She seemed nervous when she saw me, left the guy, and went to the treadmill while he waited nearby. I didn't say anything. Well, look, you know, she's talking to you, sending you handwritten letters, sending you pictures of you at the gym, hanging out, doing all these things to get your attention, and you're not giving her that attention. It looks like she was going to go other places to get it. Now, you have to think about that as well if you want to be with somebody who does these kind of things. You don't want to ignore the fact that you saw her with another guy and that she seems to be flirting and whatever kind of cheating happened here. I'm not really sure. The following week, I saw her again. I initially avoided eye contact because of her inconsistency, but when we did make eye contact, I gave her a fist bump and continued my workout. I think this guy has an avoidant attachment style that he's working on. Doesn't it sound like he's a fearful avoidant? You know, you see the woman, she's making eye contact and they give a fist bump. That seems like such a fearful avoidant thing to do. She later approached me and asked me if I wanted to play tennis sometime. But the conversation quickly turned into her accusing me of things I didn't do in the relationship. Okay, were those things accurate? Maybe she had a valid point, something you have to consider. Afterwards, she would switch back to suggesting we spend time together and also disclosed that she has been depressed. When I asked if she was seeing someone, she said yes, but claimed she didn't really like him. So she's wasting that guy's time, trying to get your attention, doing all these things to get your attention, but it doesn't sound like you're really escalating things here. She's depressed. It sounds like there's a lot going on here, right? I told her I didn't think it was a good idea to make plans while other people were involved. Fair enough. You did have some opportunities to do so before this. She then asked me to walk on the treadmill with her, and after I finished my workout, we talked again. She continued making accusations, but I stayed calm and didn't engage. During the conversation, another guy she had previously said she stopped seeing came up, and when I mentioned it, she appeared caught off guard. She continued accusing me of cheating, and I simply said I didn't remember events the way she described them. Okay. So were you flirting with other girls and maybe it was bothering her? Were you doing anything inappropriate that she had a valid point about? Or was maybe she just projecting her cheating onto you? Afterward, we walked out of the gym together and she asked, "So what happens next?" By that point, after doing the work and reviewing your material, I think he's talking about the workbooks of the course, I recognized the pattern of inconsistency, gaslighting, and blame. I told her that what happens next is that she needs to get herself together. She went to her car and I went to mine. Well, it does sound like she needs to get herself together. She doesn't seem to act maturely about a lot of this stuff. Now, I don't know what was in that handwritten letter that, she was trying to convey some stuff to you. And it doesn't really sound like you even really talked about what was in it. In that moment, I felt that rejecting her was the right decision because of the gaslighting and the work I had done on my mental health. I didn't feel respectful to myself to go along with things. This was in May of 2025. So you see, this is a while ago. We're just a few months away from this being a year. What I mean with we can get stuck. She later wished me a happy Father's Day, so that's in June, and I briefly tried to see if that could lead us to meeting, but nothing came from it. We haven't spoken since, though I've occasionally seen her at the gym. I guess she hasn't gotten herself together yet. Over time, I noticed her weight continued to fluctuate, and she seemed to rely on distractions and attention from other men, though she has since distanced herself from many of them. At times, she would put herself in my space at the gym without directly speaking to me, but I chose to keep my distance and focus on my own progress. I now see her only occasionally, sometimes months apart. The most recent time I saw her, I kept to myself and focused on my workout. Another woman approached me and started a conversation, and shortly after, my ex left the gym. I didn't read into it and continue with my workout. At this point, it's February, and it feels clear that things between us are not moving forward. Well, no, you haven't really seen much progress, but I don't know how much you were trying to really get things going when those windows of opportunity were happening, especially early on. I've dated a few people over the past year, but nothing serious developed. I wanted to share my story because going through betrayal and rebuilding afterward is a difficult process, and I know many others may be going through something similar. Yeah, a lot of people are struggling through their breakup and getting past it and moving forward. And you got to keep focusing a little bit each day on healing and growing and putting the story together of you and her and that relationship. I don't remember the extent of the cheating. She was definitely doing some inappropriate things. I don't know if she was, hooking up with other guys or just flirting or being inappropriate, trying to get their attention. But you want to consider all of these factors, right? She hasn't really shown a lot of maturity here in all of this time. I don't know what the handwritten letter said. I don't know if that was a mature, ownership of her mistakes or anything she had done wrong. It doesn't really sound like it because it seems like most of the conversation she's had with him is about what he did wrong and how he neglected her or whatever he did to quote unquote fail in this relationship. So I'd be careful with this woman. She doesn't seem like she's in a healthy place. It doesn't seem like she's really owned up to the problems here. It doesn't seem like she is taking any of the responsibility for this relationship not working. It feels like there's a lot of toxic things still happening, inconsistency, the gaslighting, the blaming, the accusations. I don't know if you did anything inappropriate that she has a leg to stand on or if she's just completely making it up. Probably just making it up based on all the other things that she's done here. But look, I know it's tough to get through a breakup. You have to keep pushing forward. Don't watch her stories anymore. It's not helpful to you. You have to really look at this relationship and all the things that she didn't do to make it work properly. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she keeps putting herself in your orbit in the future and tries to get your attention again. But unless I'm really seeing a big difference in her attitude and her mindset and acting like an adult here, I don't think this woman would give you anything healthy. And so I'd be careful with this particular woman and this situation. Keep processing, keep moving forward, keep focusing on the kind of relationship that you want to have and the qualities that you are looking for in a person. Keep doing those workbooks of the course, which one that might be a better fit for you. Hopefully you've enjoyed this one. If you'd like to get my help personally, you could do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Zoom calls. Check out my creative healing course and my workbooks that can really help you process your breakup. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon.